imagine a world where companies like Zomato, Ola, or TCS, Infosys, and all operate exactly the same way that they did 30 years ago. Very rigid hierarchies, for communication using paper memos. There are no flexible terms or even remote work. No laptops, nothing. Sounds absurd, right? That is because the way organizations are designed has had to evolve rapidly. The modern business environment is very fast. It is digital, global, demands new forms of organization design that are flexible, tech savvy, people oriented, and recently even AI driven. So let's dive into a world of contemporary organizational designs, how they have changed, why they are changing, and how businesses from startups in Bangalore or Kochi to IT giants in Hyderabad and Delhi are adapting to stay relevant. We will look at the forces that drive this shift, the major design types, and what they mean for managers like you in the near future. So, as I said, the world around us is constantly evolving, and so are our organizations. Now, several environmental factors push the organizations to redesign themselves, like technological advances, e businesses, service delivery, globalization, unpredictable demand, inclusivity, and employee voice. Let us look at each of these factors a little bit in detail so that we have a better understanding of them. Technological advances, why it becomes a reason for redesign, we all know, right? AI tools, mobile apps, cloud computing, companies can operate smarter, faster, and even with a lesser cost. Like for example, say in the past, if it is a hospital, earlier they had, let's say, 50 beds or 100 beds. The amount of data, or maybe they had just 5 doctors with them, the amount of data what they had would be needed. We will need to store that data somewhere, right? So maybe they had one computer or maybe a couple of hard drives or things like that to store. But let's say it is a flu season, and maybe we'll have a lot of patients coming in that particular season, and we will have a much higher data storage or data processing requirement over there. So maybe you'll have to hire a little bit more people at that time, or data will be more, so you'll have to store that much of data at that time. So we would have had to what you can say, um, is comprehend the right word? We will have to think about that situation while we are purchasing our IT resources, like the hardware, software, things like that, the storage, all those things. While we purchase itself, we will have to think. But apart from the flu season, those resources would remain without any particular use. Come cloud services like Google Cloud, Azure, Microsoft Azure, or Amazon Web Services and all. Now organizations have the capacity to scale up during their peak load time, peak load season, without having to pay upfront for any kind of infrastructure. So when they need more processing, they will just pay for that extra additional units of processing that they need during that time. And after that, they can scale down. So cloud computing is one such technological advance, which has helped even companies to lower their costs. So think of how Paytm uses big data to offer personalized services, or maybe Walmart or some telecom providers and all. They would be using some sort of cloud service providers in order to do this, right? So technological advances is a force that pushes organizations to redesign themselves. E-business and service delivery, how come? Because think of Amazon, think of Flipkart. Businesses now deliver services through digital platforms, right? There is an ad, right? Which company was that? Almost all the time, whenever we open a YouTube video, we will get the ad for even haircuts or spas, even house help. All these things are available. We can just simply order these things, like how we order food through Zomato and all. We can order. I forgot that app's name. Oh my God, if you guys remember, or if you guys had a chance to see that ad while you are playing Anu's classroom videos also, please do comment, okay? I really can't recollect it. Okay. So the services nowadays are going definitely through digital platforms. Flipkart's customer service team, for instance, they don't need a large central office. They can operate from anywhere using modular systems. And that is one of the reasons why there are a lot of remote job opportunities also nowadays. Similarly, globalization, businesses, no business, I don't think any business, including Anu's classroom, right now it is not a business, but still, including myself, when I think of something, I dream of something, I don't dream that, okay, I will only cater to one particular place, or I'll just be restricted to something else. Always the dream is to expand as much as possible. Right now, I'm focusing on IGNO's MBA, but later I might focus on some other courses also of IGNO or maybe outside IGNO, right? And then again, outside India. also I might focus, right? So the globalization dream is there, even from the smallest of small startups to the largest of large companies. I think larger companies are now expanding out of the planet. Correct. So globalization, businesses today cross borders, and a marketing team in Mumbai might have to collaborate daily with developers in Berlin or Canada or London. This demands a networked structure that supports international collaboration. Unpredictable demands. Markets shift fast, right? Let's look at a fashion brand like Mintra. It has to respond to the changing trends quickly, which is only possible if their teams are agile and their structure allows rapid decision making. Right? And also, employees today, especially the millennials and Gen Zs, they want to be heard. They want flatter structures, they want opportunities to grow and meaningful work. That is why modern designs are also increasingly democratic as well as empowering. We have established even before that there is no one size fits all in any kind of an organization's design. The right design always depends on multiple factors. And what are those factors? Do you remember? We have discussed about it in earlier videos. But again, let's just have a quick reminder of those. What are the factors that uh, affect organizations' design? Goals, if you think goals, yes. The size, yes. The industry in which the organization is operating, yes. The culture of the organization, the external environment in which the organization is operating, right? All these things affect the choice of which organization design depends on, sorry, which organization design is right for our particular organization. So, talking of all these things, do you remember Geo's beginning? Around, I think it's almost 10 years now. They were practically giving stuff for free, right? SIM for free, data almost free, right? So you don't have to pay for calls. All calls were done through Wi-Fi. Practically everything was free over there. And most of us, including myself, made use of that to the point that they were instrumental in wiping out a few other telecom providers from the face of Indian telecom, right? Aircell, Docomo, Idea, while I was studying, all these brands were there. And now there is nothing, not even a trace of them. Did any of you guys use Aircel or Docomo or anything like that earlier? Do you or do you have any of those SIM cards with you in some corner or in some stored away in the attic somewhere? Let me know. Okay. So Gia's idea, actually, you can say that mostly it changed all these companies' ideas. Sorry, and companies' life surgery, right? So why I told you all this story is so that I can draw your attention towards Geo's strategy, a strategy of rapid customer acquisition, which was supported by its decentralized and tech driven organizational setup. And that allowed decisions to be made fast on the ground. So while you're designing an organization, it always helps to look at Potter's five forces. Remember Potter's five forces? We have studied it earlier. I know I might be sounding like that school teacher which says, ഇതൊക്കെ നിങ്ങൾ ചെറിയ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ പഠിച്ചല്ലേ. Let me, for the non-Malayali speakers, it means you have learned all this in your baby classes, no? In small classes. You remember we always have that teacher. Mostly it is the max teacher only. Well, while you reach 10th, they'll be like, these and all you studied in 6th. I might be sounding like that to you, but yeah, I hope you remember Potter's five forces. What are the five forces? Potter's forces, they are competition, buyer power, supplier power, threat of substitution, and new entrants. These are the five forces of that Potter is saying. So when we are designing our organization structure, it is always a good idea to look at these five forces. A company which faces very high competitive pressure, like say this Indian telecom sector, has to design its organization in order to respond quickly, reduce the cost, and innovate constantly. Now, there is one important thing. Before you decide to jump on the wagon and take any kind of decision on designing your organization or redesigning your organization, you have to diagnose the current system. And diagnosing the current system includes identifying what all bottlenecks are there, any kind of overlapping roles are there which you can eliminate. Is there any communication breakdown in any part or any talent underutilization is happening? These kind of things you need to first identify and analyze. You can use tools like SWOT analysis or McKinsey's 7S framework. McKinsey 7S framework we already talked about in first unit, correct? So definitely I can confidently say that we studied in this semester itself, right? So these frameworks you can use often to spot what is working with the organization and what is not working. And don't fix what is not broken, fix what is broken first. I hope you remember all these, right? So I'm not going in depth into it. SWOT is strength, weakness, opportunity, threat framework. We have been studying it from first semester. It is there in third semester still, and it will also be following you to your fourth semester and beyond. So if you are not thorough with what it is, please make it a point to understand properly. Right. So even if you're working for someone who's looking for what you can say, even if you're working or if you're someone who is looking for work, have you noticed this that a lot of companies, even large ones like say TCS, Infosys, and all, mainly Infosys, every other day someone or the other agency actually gives me a call because I'm from the IT field. They give me a call about some kind of a contract opportunity, and it is like after a few couple of months, or after by the time the contract is over, if your performance is good, then they'll take you in and all like that. I used to get calls. So you can see that a lot of companies um, rely on other agencies, contingent workers, freelancers, contract workers, gig workers, remote teams, all these things to get work done. Why is it? What is the benefit of having these people? Employing such people will reduce the labor overhead on companies. If they have more work, then they'll hire a few extra hands and then they will fire them or they'll end their contract when the work is done. So what happens here is it offers the flexibility for organization. So it is good, right? So why not go for complete gig workers or complete contract staff? Why do we still have to have some permanent employees? Why can't we go completely contractual? It is because though there are benefits of having such contract staff in your organization, there are also a lot of challenges. What kind of challenges can you think of when you employ contract staffs? Communication gaps, engagement issues, legal risks, integration problems, data security, culture maintenance. Oh, this one is a real headache. Legal and safety concerns, scalability, performance management, all these things take a hit. The reason is, see, if let's say I've been taken for a 6-month contract to an organization, do you think that many people will feel like I belong to the organization? The organization's growth is my growth. I'm very proud. Like those things will happen. No, it's like, yeah, 6 months ka kaam hai. Like 6 mahine milega. After that, it'll be done with. So after that, I'll have to look for something else. We won't feel that kind of a personal attachment to that organization than if we were a permanent staff over there. Right? Always we'll be thinking about what will I have to do or what can I do after this work is done so that I don't go hungry. Right? So that is one of the major problems with contract staffing. Communication gaps, because the teams are remote or teams are temporary, it may not communicate well with full-time staffs. Similarly, gig workers may not feel loyal or invested in the company's goal. That is why I said there will be engagement issues. Culture maintenance issues will be there. Similarly, mismanagement of contracts or benefits can lead to compliance issues also. Part-time, full-time employees may work differently. There could be friction between these two kind of people. So, but a company like Swiggy, let's say, they manage thousands of delivery partners. They have to constantly balance the autonomy with control, flexibility with safety. It's a classic contingent workforce challenge there. Similarly, the challenges that go beyond workforce. So these four challenges, right? Communication gaps, engagement issues, legal risk, integration problems. These are workforce related problems. Now, these other set of challenges that I've mentioned, data security, culture maintenance, legal and safety concerns, scalability, performance management, and all, go beyond the workforce. Data security, when there are a lot of temporary staff, the problem is too much, right? uh, if let's say they are in key points, they could lead to breaches and things like that. We have had a lot of movies, right? You saw Ant-Man and the Wasp, and no, not Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think Ant-Man, right? In Ant-Man, how they were able to get into the facility. how they were able to breach, that is because they were able to that is because they were able to switch while it was a contingent worker situation, right? It was a contract staff, so they were easily able to get him in into the system. So the question arises how we can handle these. To handle all these things, the companies will have to invest a good resources into training, into robust digital tools like Slack or Zoom, clear SOPs, and regular performance reviews will have to be done. Now, let us explore the modern design types. These design types of organization design are becoming increasingly popular. The first design that I want to draw your attention towards is networked organizations. Networked organizations structure teams in a flexible, decentralized manner where teams can collaborate across departments, sometimes even across companies. Like, for example, a digital marketing agency in Delhi, they may collaborate with a tech firm in Bangalore or a freelancer in Pune, and they will all be coordinated online. Therefore, the strength of such organizations lie in the flexibility, innovation, and cross-functional synergy. But at the same time, it can cause confusion over the roles or accountability of the people working. The next type of design I want to introduce to you is modular organizations. A company which focuses on key functions and outsources non-core activities to extend to external specialized units or partners are modular organizations. Like a clothing brand may outsource manufacturing to Tirupur or logistics to delivery and focus on branding in-house. The strengths of such organization are efficiency and adaptability, but there is a risk of creating silos and coordination issues. Sense and response organizations. It, what is this? A new term, perhaps, right, for most of us. These organizations are flexible. They have an adaptive structure which continuously monitors changes in the environment. And that is why we have this term, sense. It senses the changes in its environment and it quickly adjusts its strategies and operations. That is response. It senses the changes and responds to stay relevant and competitive. Such organizations have a sense and response type of design. Let's say an online stock brokerage firm. If it is using AI to adjust its trading strategies based on live market data, then it is a sense and response organization. So the speed and market responsiveness of such organizations will be very, very high. But it will have to, in order to get that speed and market responsiveness, it will have to rely heavily on tech investments and it may undervalue human judgment, which is, I believe, what most organizations are slowly heading towards with the oh, use of AI. Right now, it is using AI, but the way they're heading, it is going, I think like it is going to be an overuse because there is AI for everything now, right? Now, similarly, now the next organization design is holocracy. What is holocracy? It is an organization model where power and decision making are distributed across self-organizing teams instead of being held in a traditional management hierarchy. Everyone has defined roles here, but there are no bosses in the usual sense. Authority is decentralized and the teams can govern themselves. So there is no job titles, there are no bosses. The roles are going to be flexible and team based. So the best example that can give of a holacracy type of design is any kind of a startup. Let's say there is a design startup in Bangalore. The teams will most probably in a startup, like I don't know how many of you have had the chance to attend an interview for a startup. Usually they ask for people who are willing to work on every aspect of a particular task, like 360-degree, rather than if you contrast that ask of a startup with let's say an MNC, a very large scale MNC and all, you will be very, very, very specialized. Like you might be a developer, but you might be specializing in only one particular thing in a MNC because there are a lot of people who will be able to work on other things. So nobody is going to have a complete picture in when you're working for an MNC. Maybe except of course the senior managers and people like that. Nobody else is going to have a complete picture of everything that is happening. Whereas in a startup, it is not like that. It is just the opposite. You will be the tester, you will be the developer, you will be the what you can say customer feedback guy, you will be the client side man, like you will be the person responsible to interact with the client, gather responses, do the documentation. Everything will be you. You will be the one and only over there, right? So you as in you, not just the one person, but the team will be responsible for everything. So these kind of organizations have this holocratic designs. So definitely, from if you look at it from the employee perspective, there is a lot of empowerment, there is a lot of scope for innovation, but at the same time, limitations are there. It is not easy for traditional firms to suddenly shift to a holocratic culture. Similarly, while there is a shift, or while we create such a holocratic structure within our organizations, the culture of the organization should be able to support that kind of a design. That is also very important. Teal organizations. What is teal? The first time I heard this word teal, no? Teal organizations. What? Teal is a color, right? Colored organization? Like, is it like that? Some particular color? How can it be? The word actually didn't make any sense to me until I went behind it, and then I figured out what teal organizations meant. So from a business perspective, though generally speaking, teal is something that is used to represent a color and all, from a business perspective, it is used to um, represent responsiveness, communication, and things like that. So a teal organization is a progressive organizational model where work is guided by self-management through purpose and wholeness rather than hierarchy or rigid control. So such organizations will be value driven. They will have self-managed teams with a shared purpose. You can think of examples like NGOs or sustainability driven firms where employees have to manage themselves. Again, the strengths of such an organization will be engagement, and the individuals individuals who make up the organization will have a sense of ownership. But it can be a bit vague in structure, and it will for such a type of design to work, it needs maturity and trust. So we spoke about holocracy, and then we spoke about teal, right? Teal organizations. Holocracy, we said there is empowerment, innovation. The teams will be self-governing, like they will be self-organized, right? And in teal organizations also, we said employees manage themselves. So why do we need two different types of design types to uh, represent almost the similar kind of things? What exactly is different between holocracy and teal organizations? You might have noticed this, right? You might have noticed that both holocracy and teal organizations, they both promote decentralization and self-management. So are they the same? No. No, they are not the same. Teal organization is more or less like a lifestyle. That is why we gave examples of NGOs in as a teal organization. Right? It's like a lifestyle. Choose your own values, dress how you want, eat what feels right. Right? Like your own lifestyle. It is guided by purpose and wholeness. Whereas, if you think about it, holacracy is like a structured diet plan. Okay, it gives you uh, proper detailed rules to follow for how you should eat, how you should exercise, and how you should live. Both of these help you grow. Okay, but holacracy is like something that is more structured and rule based, whereas the other one, the teal organization type, is more philosophical and more adaptive. Now the last modern design type is decentralized autonomous organizations, DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations. Now I couldn't find any much famous examples of decentralized autonomous organizations, DAOs, that I could tell you. And in India also, this is not a very, what you can say, very common concept. This kind of a design type is not very common in organizations. So mm, it might be a little bit difficult for you guys to grasp, because it is not very easy to give you an example which you can all relate to. But let me try anyway. Okay, so DAOs are digital blockchain based organizations that are run by small contracts and blockchain. Here also there are no bosses, okay, but stakeholders are there, and they vote on actions. So it is an organization which manages itself through code, and therefore it will be transparent, it is rule bound, and often powered by cryptocurrency. Crypto based investment funds where token holders vote on where to invest is one such example. Because it relies on cryptocurrency, blockchain, such things, it is going to be very secure. And because the whole thing is powered through code, there is transparency. The things done will be very democratic. But here is the thing, right? It is not hugely adopted as of now. It is a very experimental and especially tech heavy kind of a design. And in India, there are legal issues also, which are not very clear on how we can govern such organization styles as well. Okay, so yeah, that is it for the major concepts that are covered in unit number 7. I hope this session was useful to you. Until I see you in the next session, thank you so much. Bye bye. Happy learning.